Alright guys, welcome back. If you notice, new channel name, which I just keep changing like every 2 weeks or so. When I started this channel, and I've said this in early videos, that I started this channel for me and myself only. Like just to have a platform to discuss my passion for horror, and anyone wants to listen is an extra little bonus. I said I don't care about subscribers, I don't care about views. Like if I get 100 subs, which I'm 20 away from now, if I get 100 subs and even 10 of them watch consistently, absolute bonus. But trust me, I am trying so hard to prevent this channel from growing in any fucking way possible. Like I'll say I have a video up in a few hours and it'll be 2 days later. I'll say I'm gonna do this movie and that never happens. There's another one. I'm changing the name so often that it's like a Mexican cocaine bar that's only there for a week and then you know where it is, but then after that it disappears to another location and you have no idea what the fuck happened to it. Like I'm trying everything to prevent this channel from growing. So like I'll think of it as like a little experiment, and like how hard can you try to not make a channel grow at all and see what happens in like a year or two from now. But Friday the 13th part 3 from 1982, directed again by Steve Miner, and we have another 5-minute recap at the beginning of this, just like the last one. Like I said, for those who couldn't remember 1 year before this when they saw it, and the crazy, layered, dense, complex plot was lost on them and they forgot it after a year. So we got a nice little recap again for 5 minutes. And these are like only fucking an hour and a half movies. Like maybe even a little less. Like you really don't need these recaps, but I said that in the last video. I love Harry Manfredini's 80s like disco theme in the opening. And then we hear it again, like in the supermarket for some reason, that Shelly and Vera go into with the biker gang. I love that theme. Like he did such a good job of capturing like that 80s vibe and stuff with like the dance disco music and stuff. I really, really love that. I said in the last video about what happened to Paul, and that this has been heavily debated for ever since the movie came out, basically, whether he lived or died. And when the wife at the beginning, I forget her name, is looking at the news, they are talking about the murders from the night before, from the last movie. And they say that they found 8 corpses, 8 bodies. So when you count them, there's Ralph, the cop, Jeff and Sandra, Vicky and Mark, and Scott and Terry. That's 8. Unless, so like, Paul's alive. Unless they just completely fucked that up. So it still doesn't answer the question whether Paul's alive or not, or what the hell happened to him. Because even if you take out, like, Terry and the cop, like if they, for some reason, didn't find Jason's shack, and that's where Terry and the cop's bodies were. So now we're back down to 6. Unless they're counting Alice for some reason, like wherever the fuck she is. And like I said, like she said in the first movie that she has to go back to California. So she supposedly lives in California or has family there or something. So unless they're counting her and Paul to make 8, then none of that makes any sense at all. So that question is never answered and Paul is just in limbo. I'm surprised that this grocery store is still in business in any way, shape, or form, with Harold eating like half the food in this place. Like he just fucking goes around opening shit and eating things and then just putting it back on the shelf. That is so disgusting. And then he's eating fucking fish food. And like you see this in some movies now and then, like people eating cat food or fucking fish food, and they're like, they like it. I'm like, yeah, it's not bad. And then like he starts eating more of it, and then he sees that there's fly eggs in it, and that's what makes him spit it out of his mouth and like get disgusted. Like really? Like just seeing that speaking of fly eggs, a fucking fly just flew in my face. That's what makes him stop eating the fish food. I don't know. He's weird enough just for liking it and eating it that it really shouldn't affect his taste buds, like knowing what's in it. Then Harold gets the cleaver to the chest, which really cool. Looks really cool. Cool kill. Then we have another goddamn rat that scares the wife. I swear, man, if I see another fucking rat in this series, I don't remember if there's another one, but if I see one more, I'm gonna fucking stop. Like, I'm not even gonna continue the series. I am so sick of rats in these goddamn fucking movies. Every movie has a fucking rat in it, and it's scarier than the killer. It's so old. So Harold's dead, and Kumar gets stabbed in the back of the. No, that's a different movie. But the wife gets stabbed in the back of the head, and I can't even tell what it is, like a sewing needle or something like that. It looks like something like it's so quick. And then we meet our cast of teenagers or whatever age they are in this, because Andy says that Shelly's his roommate. So are they college students? I guess they're college students in this. And they're going to Higgins Haven, which is our third location here on Camp Crystal Lake. We get another crazy old dude, just again, because Ralph was just so popular in the first two movies that this one doesn't even deserve a name. He's just fucking a crazy guy carrying an eyeball around. Like, this guy's crazier than fucking Ralph. And he just lays in the fucking middle of the street, like, for people to come by and show this eyeball to, apparently. But you gotta always have that creepy character to warn everyone and say, yo, don't, you're gonna die. Like, I warned you. And that way, like, what does he get? Like, he gets, like, brownies for, like, being right at the end of this. He sees it on the news, but I fucking told those kids. But let's be honest, he's not seeing it on the news because he's a homeless person. He doesn't have a TV. Like, he's not hearing about this shit. Eating all of that marijuana, and then just for the cops to like pass you by and not be pulling you over, that's fucking funny. And just the whole idea, come on, they're gonna eat all that pot. Like, do you see how much pot that Chili has in her hands? And what type of fucking name is Chili? Come on, like, some of these nicknames in these movies, like, not just this franchise, like, all movies, are just so ridiculous. It just makes you really think, like, nobody on the set for this movie, no one who worked on this movie at all, came up to anyone and said, you know, Chili, that's a pretty stupid fucking nickname. Like, can't we change it to something else? And, like, they would have been like, oh, you're kind of right. Like, yeah, we should, let's name her blah, blah, blah. No one, like, nobody mentions this to anyone. Like, just stupid things like this. I guess not. Like, have you ever met a Chili? Oh, wait. No is the answer. Fucking, if you have, let me know, and I'll fucking retract everything I just said. But I've never met a Chili. I don't know anybody who's ever met a Chili. So I just think that's fucking ridiculous, that whole name. And we have the whole thing with Debbie being pregnant in this, which really doesn't play into anything. Like, I think it's just to make her death a little more shocking. They're like, oh shit, like, she killed a pregnant woman. Like, that's the only thing I could think of why they even included that. Besides maybe the line of saying that, like, we'd be there if we didn't have to stop for somebody to piss all the time. And her saying, well, that's what happens when you're pregnant. Besides that, I can't think of any reason why they even included that. Like, it's just for the shock factor when she gets killed, in my opinion. And you give this poor pregnant chick a hammock to sleep in? That's fucked up. Like, seriously, if I had a group of friends and one of them was pregnant, they're getting the best fucking bed in the house. Like, without a doubt. They put her in a hammock, and it's not just her, it's her and Andy. So she has to share a hammock as a pregnant woman. Like, this is fucking crazy, man. Like, Chris needs to learn better fucking, like, manners and shit, like, around her little cottage here. Then we have poor dickhead Shelly, which I love Shelly's character in this. I really do. Like, he is a dick. Like, with the, like, who does that with the fucking axe in his head and falling out of a closet? Like, that's so fucked up. That is such a terrible joke to play on people, that you got fucking axed in the head. And it looks pretty realistic, man. And then he just pulls, like, the axe off and it has, like, the exact same hair as his. Like a patch of hair that matches his exactly, that the axe is attached to. But, like, that's such a poor taste, man. Like, I get it, he's misunderstood and he feels like he's a loser and everything. I just love Shelly's character, and he's one of the, like, only cast members from all the original like old movies and stuff in this franchise that still like really loves talking about this franchise. Like in any documentary you watch about the Friday the 13th movies, he's in it. In Friday the 13th the game, he came back and reprised his character for that, and Fox did also from this. So like the two of them are like the only ones who like still love and adore the fact that they were in this franchise. And coincidentally, they're both from this movie. But I love Shelly. And then when they go to the gas station and the fucking clerk says, "We don't accept no food stamps," like if I was Vera, I'd be like, "Bitch, what you just say to me? Like, are you serious? Who says that to somebody? That we don't accept food stamps?" She doesn't even look like somebody who would be on food stamps. Like, she doesn't look like a poor girl or anything like that. Vera, like, why? Like, why is that line there? Why does that line exist? Like, that, it makes no sense to me. And then the whole thing with throwing the wallet, with the 3D in this movie, like, they paid more attention to the 3D effects than, like, anything else in this movie. Like, I've heard and read in interviews and stuff, like, they didn't give a shit about the actor's performance or anything like that. They were like, whatever, just fucking say your lines, move the fuck on. Like, that's it. Like, we have to get these 3D shots. That's all they cared about. And like, there's some cool shots. Like, I've seen this in 3D, like on a 3D TV, like years and years ago. And it's cool watching it in 3D, but like, they could have utilized it a lot better instead of just having like a wallet being thrown like at you or a fucking yo-yo coming down. Like, really? Like, there's some other cool stuff like with the spear gun with Vera and stuff like that later on, but they could have had some better ideas for the 3D usage in this movie. And I love when Ollie, the black biker guy, after Shelly backs up and hits the motorcycles, and then he starts driving towards Ollie, and he stops and he wraps the fucking heavy chain around his hand, and he just like looks through the window at Shelly and he smiles with like that like shit-eating grin, and like Shelly puts like that nervous smile on, and then he proceeds to fucking break the windshield open. Like, awesome stuff. Like, I love Allie's character in this also. And then when Fox trips in the barn and she lands with her face right in front of the pitchfork, does anybody else think it would have been such a better kill if Jason was like right behind her and just stepped on her head and pushed her face onto the pitchfork? Like, that would have been so much better than the kill that we get. Like, we don't even see her get killed. We just see her hanging with the pitchfork through her neck and stuff, which again, like I say in a lot of these movies, there's no fucking way her body weight and stuff that she's hanging from that beam like that with a pitchfork through her neck. Like, that shit would just rip and her body would fall to the ground. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to make these movies original and stuff, but no fucking way. Then Loco, I think that's his name, right? I know Ollie, I know Fox, and then there's the white guy nobody really cares about. I'm pretty sure it's Loco though. And he ends up getting the pitchfork through the stomach, and it's cool how it comes out the back, like through his leather jacket and stuff. That's a neat little touch, just having the leather jacket on and the pitchfork like coming through it. That's a cool little touch there. Then Jason hacks Allie's, like, it looks like he's hacking Allie's like arm apart. Like, he's hacking him. And then he's alive later? Yeah, no he's not. Like, this guy's fucking dead. There's no way that he's still alive at the end of this movie. And was just what, like just chilling in the barn, just like waiting for his moment to pop out and like save the day before he's fucking dispatched like quicker than you can. I don't know, man. Like that whole thing is ridiculous. And then how did they even find them? Like, when Shelly drove off, like, he was already like down the road and stuff, and Allie's just like screaming like, "I'm gonna get you, like, you motherfuckers." Like, they had no idea where these people went, but they were still able to find them somehow, and somehow knew that they had a barn that they can burn down, because they came with the 2 cans of gasoline and the fucking hose to siphon the gas from the van, and their whole plan was to burn the barn down, because Allie says to Fox that like, nobody's gonna get hurt, babe, and stuff, like, so they're just trying to get even for their bikes being destroyed. So how do they even know that they had a barn to burn down? Like, all of that is just fucking weird, dude. None of that makes sense. And then we get more of the 3D stuff with when they're Shelly and Andy are juggling the apples. which is cool. Like, it's cool seeing Shelly juggling and stuff, and like on the 3D, like seeing the apples like from the top and stuff, seeing them fly up. But like I go to the store, I buy 8 apples, and the clerk asks me to bag them up. I say, "Oh no, man, I juggle, but I only juggle 8. If I ever come in buying 9 apples, fucking bag them up." If anybody knows what that's from, huge props. Fucking, that's so funny. And the whole Jason raping Chris thing, I don't know. Like, that's such a weird inclusion for this movie. Like, implying that Jason tried raping her or did rape her. Because she says earlier in the movie when they first get picked up, like the friends and everything, when Andy and Debbie are talking about sex and like what would like a weekend in the woods or in the country or whatever be without sex, and then like you can see that Chris gets like very uncomfortable, and then you see her very uncomfortable with Rick throughout the whole movie, like when it comes to any type of physical contact or sex or anything like that. And then you have like Shelly being set up with Vera and everything, which like doesn't work in any way, like, which I feel bad for Shelly, man. Like, like he's a good guy deep down. Like, come on, stop being superficial. Like, look past someone's looks for once. Like, I'm sure there are people out there, most of us, who have gotten laid with somebody who we're just thinking, why the fuck is this person fucking me right now? Like, they could do so much better than me. It's like, just give Shelly a chance, man. Just fuck someone uglier than you once in a while. That's what I'm trying to say. Just fucking pay it forward. Like, you'll make that person so happy for the rest of their life that they'll always have that memory. And you'll feel good in the process in multiple ways. So, I mean, fuck someone uglier than you once in a while. Like, it can be a very good deed, right? But the whole thing with Chris and with Jason and stuff just seems so out of left field. Like, that's not Jason's MO that, like, we know. Like, from the last movie and from every movie here on forward. I mean, like from like 6 onward, it wouldn't make sense anyway since he's fucking a zombie and shit. So like, I'm sure he has no interest in sex. And Jason was a child growing up in the woods and everything for his whole life. I mean, yeah, it's not hard to figure out that putting your dick in something feels good. Like, look at the first human beings and cavemen and shit. Like, they figured that out real fucking fast. Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. But, like, that whole inclusion of the attempted rape or succeeded rape and stuff is just fucking weird. Like, I never saw why they threw that in. Like, that's what they're implying. Like, I've heard people argue that it's just that he attacked her in the woods, and that's it. No, they're implying that he fucking tried to rape her. Like, with all the repressed sexuality that she shows in this movie, and like, I mean, speaking of fucking an ugly person, I mean, I mean, this is terrible, but like, Jason is as ugly as you can get, man. If you really want to pay it forward, like, you might kill him just by fucking him. Man, people are gonna get mad for that joke. I could not care less. Fucking, that's fucking crazy though. But that whole inclusion is just so weird. Absolutely strange. Then how long was Shelly under the water when he's trying to scare Vera? Like, it's not like she just sat down on the dock like and put her feet in the water. Like, when we first see that scene open, like, she's been sitting there for a bit. Like, her legs are in the water. Like, she seems relaxed and chill. Like, she was definitely there for a little bit. And he's under the water this entire time. And how did he know that she was gonna come out there and like any of that? Like, this guy must be like have the world record for holding your breath, because he must have been down there for like at least a few minutes. And I'm pretty sure the world record, and I only know this from the movie Would You Rather, pretty sure the record is like 4 minutes and change or something like that. Pretty sure. But again, this is from a movie, and like I said, with any type of medical advice or like anything about being a doctor or medicine that you hear me say on this channel or theorize about, you do not listen to, because you will fucking die. Like, 100% you will die if you listen to a word I say or theorize about when it comes to medicine or doctors or any type of healthcare, anything on this channel. You will end up absolutely like deader than dead. if you listen to any of that. So I don't know what the world record is what I'm trying to say. I'm pretty sure it's like 4 minutes and change, but I can be completely wrong on that, so do not quote me on that at all. Then we get the iconic shot of Jason in his hockey mask for the first time on the dock, like walking over to Vera. And I love Richard Brooker as Jason. Like, I really love Brooker in this film, playing Jason. Like, Ted White is my favorite Jason in part 4. And Kane Hodder is, like, right after Ted White. Like, God, I love Kane Hodder so much. Like, I wish he was in better movies. Like, if he was in the early Friday the 13th movies, like part 2 through 4 or something like that, hands down, he'd be the best Jason in the best films. So, I mean, it's a shame that he started in 7, like, that was so butchered by the MPAA and everything. But still, love Kane Hodder more than anything. But Ted White's my favorite. Brooker is right after Kane Hodder. Like, something about Jason's look in this movie, like, and his face under the mask, and just everything about Jason in this movie. Like, maybe that's why this is my favorite growing up. Like, just the way that he looks is just awesome. Like, he has such a unique look to him in this movie. Like, compared to, like, Jason in part 4, like, under the mask, when he looks like a fucking zombie, even though he's not yet. Like, this one, he looks much more grounded in reality. Like, he just looks like somebody with a fucking facial deformity. Like, it doesn't look so over the top like in part 4, and he's not a fucking zombie yet like in the later ones. He looks pretty much just like you would expect the young Jason from the first one, being a mongoloid, to grow up into. So maybe that's why I love, like, Jason in this movie and his appearance so much, but awesome stuff. And then we get the kill with Vera when Jason shoots the spear gun right through her eye. Really cool kill. Like, it looks really good. Like, I love the practical effects on that. And then probably my favorite kill in this movie is when Andy is doing the handstand and he's walking on his hands, and then Jason just shows up and cuts him in half. I wish it was longer. Like, I wish we saw more to that kill. Like, we got the extended kills, like I was saying in the last video, for Friday the 13th Part 2, like 2 years ago with Scream Factory. And we got uncut kills for Part 4 a few years ago also. They still haven't released any of the uncut kills for 3. And I don't even know if they even exist still. But I'm waiting for those. Like, I would love to see Andy's kill uncut. Absolutely. Just like, it lasts like a second and a half. That you don't even realize really that he's cut in half, because when he falls down, you can see his jeans, and they're still like attached to the top of his body. But then, like, later on, like when Debbie's in the hammock before she gets killed and she looks up, he's obviously split in half. So just to see that kill extended would be absolutely awesome. And then, like, I said this with Ned in the first movie, like, you don't notice like a 6'5" or like almost 7 foot huge fucking man underneath a hammock in your room? Really? Like, really? Come on, like, is that a joke? Well, you really, like, nobody would see that person, would see a big ass man underneath a hammock. Not even a bed, a hammock. Which, if you ever laid in a hammock or seen a hammock, which would be everyone, you know, with no weight on it, that shit it's fucking high in the air, man. Like, it's not like, I mean, yeah, there's sheets on it and stuff, which you can argue that she didn't see because of the sheets. Bullshit. Like, there is no way she didn't see a huge ass guy hiding under this hammock. There's no way. Like, I mean, she was reading Fangoria magazine and walking to the hammock with that. So we'll go with that. It makes sense. She was engrossed in Fangoria, and that's why she didn't notice Jason under the hammock. And then we get, like, almost an identical kill from the first Friday with Kevin Bacon's kill. But this one looks good too. Like, where Jason just grabs her head and the knife comes sticking out, like, right here, like under her neck, but like kind of like coming through her chest. Really cool. And then I love how Shelly's pranks and stuff, even though I said, like, he's a dick for doing them, I love how they set up his death. Even though we don't see him get killed. Like, when Chili I can't with that name. When Chili finds him with his throat cut and everything, and she's just like, all right, Shelly, knock it off and stuff. It was such a clever idea to have him playing all those pranks and pretending he's killed and stuff like that to lead up to when he actually gets killed for, not Vera, for Chili not to believe him. Like, that's such a clever little touch that they threw in there. Like, I really, really love that. And then we have Cheech, who I don't remember his name, the fucking pothead guy, who gets thrown into the fuse box and electrocuted, which electrocution kills in slasher movies do nothing for me, like, at all. Unless, like, it's something, like, really cool, like, I can't think of the movie, but, like, when they get, is it Halloween 6? When the guy gets thrown into something and electrocutes and his head fucking explodes. I can't think. I haven't seen Halloween 6 in fucking years, man. That would be a good rewatch, too. I can't wait to do the whole Halloween series. And I actually am one of the few people who really loves Halloween 6. So that'll be awesome to talk about. But yeah, so Cheech is dead. And then Chili's performance, like when she realizes Shelly's dead, I love her performance. Like, I love the way that she runs around screaming for everybody and saying, like, Shelly's dead, and, like, just the way she's screaming and everything. Like, she really put on a good performance in that scene. Like, it's, like, really kind of chilling. Like, you really feel bad for Chili in this. Dude, I can't say that name, seriously, without laughing. Like, it's fucking Chili, dude. But she gives a great performance in that. That's what I'm trying to say. Then she gets the fucking fire poker through the stomach and comes out the back. Looks really cool. Like, there's a lot of good kills in this movie, even if it's a little light on the gore and stuff, which the next film perfected for me for this series. Then we have the shot of Chris on the porch, which I love this shot. When she's on the porch screaming for Rick, and it's like that wide shot, and you see Chris on the porch, and then on the side of the house, you see Jason covering Rick's face, so he can't yell or anything. And then she goes back inside. I love that shot. That is such a great shot. And then we get the head crush and the eye pops out of Rick's face. Awesome kill. Like, that and Andy's handstand kill rival each other for my favorite in this movie. It looks a little hokey with the eye popping out. Like, you can see that it's on a fucking pole or something, like being pushed through and coming out the head. But I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it's 80s special effects. But it still looks good. But because of the way it looks like a little bit hokey, is kind of what gives it to Andy's kill as my favorite for this, even though that's kind of really short. But it's between the two of those for this movie. So for this movie, I don't really have a favorite. It's tied between those two. They both have their pros and cons, for sure. And again, with just Jason's perfect dramatic timing with Loco. It is Loco. I wrote the name down. The white guy nobody cares about in the biker gang. Like, in Loco's body just falling, hanging down, and he falls in front of Chris. And then Rick being thrown through the window. And every one of these movies, man, he should be a filmmaker. Like, he knows exactly when to just make these jump scares and scare the shit out of the final girl every single time. And then the shot of Jason coming through the broken window and, like, holds the top and he's like coming through the window. Such a cool shot. There's a lot of iconic shots in this movie in the end. Like, this is my favorite final girl chase sequence, like, for an ending in this franchise. Even though Jenny is, like I said, my favorite final girl. Chris comes so close. But, like, the chase sequence with her and Jason at the end of this movie is my favorite in the series. Like, definitely. Like I said, the way that she just puts up one hell of a fight against this guy. And just the whole backstory on whatever the hell he tried doing to her in the woods and stuff. Of her being able to, like, avenge it. And, like, being able to face her fears and face what happened to her and face what this guy did to her. Awesome. Like, very, very well done. And I love when after she finds Debbie's corpse in the closet, and again, he knew that she was going to be in that closet somehow, this guy's psychic, and takes the knife out of her, which that's got to be hard, man, to find your friend dead in a closet and then have to take the knife out of her body. Like, that's fucking gross, man. That's gotta be fucking hard as shit to do. But like after she grabs the knife and then he's hacking the door down and she comes out, I love how Jason just keeps like dodging backwards and stuff like while she's trying to stab him. Awesome stuff. He does like a similar thing in part 4, but like I love that. And he gets the knife stabbed in his leg, and then he pulls it out and he throws it and it sticks into the door, which is awesome. And like the whole reason that they included the throwing knives in the Friday the 13th the game. If anyone hasn't played Friday the 13th the game and are fans of the series, like I don't even know if the servers are still up. Like it was such a terrible launch with that whole with that whole game. Like the whole release of that game was plagued with fucking server issues and connection issues and all of that. They added like a few single player stuff to it, but like awesome game. Like they really captured the whole feeling of the Friday the 13th movies and the atmosphere and stuff in that game. So if anyone hasn't played it, definitely give it a shot because it's a hell of a fun time, especially if you're playing online and chatting with friends and stuff like that. Really cool. And I love how Jason breaks the van window with his mask, like when she rolls the window up on his hands and his hands are stuck in the window and he ends up just fucking smashing his mask into it and breaking the window. Awesome stuff. And then she ends up hanging Jason, and we get another awesome shot in this movie with when he's hanging there, and he comes back to life, and he lifts himself up on the rope, and she's like, "You can't be alive!" And then he lifts the mask up just to show his face, and she's like, "It's you!" And he puts the mask back down. I love that. So awesome. Really, really cool shots. Then, yeah, there's no way Ali is still alive. Like, no way. Like I said, he's just hanging out there this whole movie, and there are so many people in and out of this fucking barn throughout this movie that nobody found him, or like he didn't like cry out for help, like when he heard somebody come through the like into the barn or anything like that. Like he just like took his time and just laid there waiting for the climax of the movie. Is exactly what happened. Like that's why it's there, and I don't even know why they even had him come back alive at the end just to get his hand lopped off and then just get hacked to death again. It seems so unnecessary to have him come back for like 2 fucking seconds at the end of this movie. And then we get the axe to Jason's head and his arms lift up like he's reaching for her. Like another awesome iconic shot, man. Like I said, the ending of this, the whole like last 20 minutes of this movie has so many great shots. And I don't know if it's just because like it's the first movie with his hockey mask and everything, but awesome. Just like so many memorable scenes and shots in this movie, especially all the stuff with Jason at the end. And then we get our famous dream sequence, like always, with Chris in the canoe, and sees Jason in the window without the mask, and he breaks through the door and everything. Then she looks back and the door is back on the hinges like nothing happened. And then we get Mrs. Voorhees' corpse that pops out of the water, the fucking leeches and shit on her and pulls Chris underwater, and a nice little callback to the first movie. But that's just for the audience. Like that's not there for anything else. Like Chris has no idea who Mrs. Voorhees is. Like there's no mention in this whole movie that they see any of the killings on the news or anything. Like not like the kid, like the group of kids themselves. Like we see the couple in the beginning that get murdered who watches the news, but there is no mention that the kids hear any of this. And it just happened like the day before, like the second movie. So there's no way that Chris knows who Mrs. Voorhees is, like at all. So like that being in her dream makes no sense at all. Like, like at all. Like why have Pamela Voorhees come out of the water and pull Chris under the water in her dream or nightmare, whatever you want to call it, when she has no idea who this person is? Like that's just for the audience. Like that's all it's for. Like it's the only reason that's in this movie. And then Chris's whole reaction at the end of this movie, thank you. Like that is the reaction that should be at the end of almost all of these movies. Like all of these slasher films from the 80s and onward and before, like the few that were before, all should end like this. and she gives a great performance at the end of this. And I remember her in Sweet 16. There's a really lesser known slasher film from the 80s. She did a good job in that. Like, nothing great or anything, but like she did all right in that. Like, she was a likable character. But like her performance at the end of this, with her just acting like she's looking like everywhere, like paranoid, and like the cop touches her, like take her to a car, and she jumps, and like that's how you'd fucking be after a situation like this, like seeing, like having all your friends murdered and being chased by this fucking killer who was the same person who tried attacking slash raping or whatever the fuck happened to you in the woods like 2 years earlier. Like, this is exactly what would happen. You would go to a fucking asylum. Like, absolutely be committed after this. And she portrays that so well, with her just like, and then getting in the back of the seat of the car, of the cop car, and she just starts like laughing like insanely and stuff. Like, she did such a good job with that, and that is the reaction that I always want to see at the end of slasher films like this. Like, because you know these people are going to an asylum, like always. Like, there's no way someone's going through an ordeal like this and just brushing it off and be like, shit happens, you know? So it's just, what do you want to see at the movies Friday night? Like, never happens. Like, it's always leading to an asylum. Then we see Jason just still laying dead, quote unquote, in the barn when we see the ripples on the lake, just like the end of the first one. There's a lot of callbacks to the first movie in this third one here. And that is Friday Part 3. Like, it is an interesting rewatch, like I said. Like, I loved this growing up, as I said. It was my favorite one of the original 4. And now after this rewatch, like, I kind of put it right there with 2. Like, if I had to make a list, maybe I'll make a list video at like the end when I finish the franchise of my favorites from worst to best. And I'd be interested to see if I can separate these 2, this one and the second one. It would probably still be 2 in the number 2 slot and 3 right under it, but they might be tied. Like, after this rewatch, they definitely might be tied. So, alright guys, next is my favorite slasher film of all time, not even just favorite in this franchise, of all time. I think it's the greatest slasher film ever made, and that is Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. And sucks that there was never any movies after that, because the final chapter was it, apparently. But alright guys, I will talk to you soon with that movie I love so dearly. Take care.